You're listening to Game and Chat, where we level up with conversations about gaming then and now. I'm your host, Daniel, aka One to Switcheroo. So let's press start and game on.
Welcome everyone to Season 2 of Game and Chat, streamed directly to your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, or all of the above to support the cause. And with that being said, welcome everybody. This is episode 7 of Season 2 of Game and Chat. Great to be back. Took a little bit of a breather and now we are back up and running. And today, of course, as every episode is a special. I keep saying that this episode is very special, but the truth is that every episode is special to me because I get to talk about my favorite games, why they're my favorite games, and why you should play these games and experience and share your thoughts with me. So for this topic in particular, we're going to talk about one of my, if not one of the first games, I would say, in my gaming life that really shook me to the core. And you know, you guys know I'm a Zelda fan lore, and like all the Zelda games and the games that you already know are my favorites. Always been very important to me, but I don't get to say this much from a Mario game perspective, because don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Mario fan. I love Mario and I love all of their games. However, it's more of it's not as impactful in terms of like for example, when Zelda can make an impact with the story, for example, Majora's Mask, of like the freedom that Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom can provide. But when you combine those things and then you come up with this amazing masterpiece that we're going to talk about today, is really something that really took the 3D Mario formula by storm. It all started when Super Mario Galaxy came out, and Super Mario Galaxy literally put the 3D Mario franchise upside down, literally, because we took Mario and we shoot him out of space and all the gaming possibilities just opened up. And up until this day, Mario Galaxy is still highly renowned as one of the best games, for some people, the best game in the 3D Mario franchise. That at least was until 3 years later when the sequel came out. And from today, it's been 15 years. It's been 15 years that one of, if not the highest Mario rated game of all time was born. Ladies and gentlemen, today is an episode that is very special to me. We're going to talk about the phenomenon, the impact, the revolutionary Super Mario Galaxy 2. This game has been in my memory ever since I beat it for the first time, and even more so since I fully completed it. Before starting recording and preparing for this podcast, I was going through my Wii U and Wii files of Mario Galaxy, and I was happily to discover that my file from 2013 with 242 stars, 100% completion, it was still there. And I still remember the day that I beat the game completely. And I say this before, and I tell this to everybody I know we happen to be talking about this topic. That is one of, if not my greatest pride gaming moment out there, because of what this game really meant and how it really made a huge splash on my gaming life. It's not just how not only is a sequel to what already was the best Mario game ever, but it was made better, it was made grander, and it was more epic and more challenging, and all things combined with the amazing mechanics that came from the first game, the introduction of new mechanics like riding Yoshi, among other things, and the music, which still to this day is one of the best work of arts out there. This is a game that if you haven't played it and if you're a Mario fan, I highly recommend you to do so. I still think it is a sin that Nintendo did not include this in the 3D All-Stars collection, but it only gives me hope that we will see it now on the Switch 2 with the implementation of mouse controls. If that's the case, I really hope that happens very, very soon. But today, people, we're gonna take you to a rocket ship out of this world, and we're gonna go back to the past. We're gonna reminisce about this beautiful game and what Nintendo provided. Again, with one of the best, if not the best Mario game of all time. I mean, Mario Odyssey already takes that spot for me. However, this game is a very, very, very close second. Maybe by the end of the podcast, we will have it back on top. So without further ado, people, join me on this Starship Cruise of Memories when we dive into the world of Super Mario Galaxy 2 on episode 7 of season 2 of Game and Chat, Super Mario Galaxy 2, a cosmic masterpiece. And of course, we're going to start off by talking on how this game came to be. Mario Galaxy was such a revolutionary concept back in the day, and like I said, up until this day, people go back and forward on which game is actually better. You know, we always have this stigma of how the original game will always be better than the sequel. Me personally, I think Mario Galaxy 2 took that and blew it out of the water. And as we already implied, for me, it could not be a better sequel to a game than what Mario Galaxy is. And the reason being is that not only because based on the ending of Mario Galaxy 1 and like how that translated into Super Mario Galaxy 2, I would say it's like a sequel without specifically being one. I mean, we're talking about how in the end of Mario Galaxy, spoiler alert, I know it's only been almost 18 years now, we see how everything is talking to the black hole, and then everything's pretty much reset. And Mario Galaxy 2 is not exactly, it's a sequel in terms of like what happens after, but at the same time, there's no like recollection or memory of all the happenings of Mario Galaxy 1. So it's kind of like a starting on a fresh blank canvas, and that alone was great because it gives you an idea of like how to like it reintroduce the Mario Galaxy mechanics and then bring something new. I mean, eventually, I mean, this game before was just going to be an expansion of Mario Galaxy 1, and you know, you would call it sort of like Mario Galaxy 1.5. I feel like whereas back in the day the DLC concept didn't exist, at least on Nintendo standards, this maybe would have been a DLC for Mario Galaxy 1, but it kind of like what happened with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It evolved into its own game because all the ideas and all the possibilities that unravel, especially with the implementation now of Yoshi, which was already teased on Mario Galaxy 1. And I feel like the fact that Yoshi didn't make it into the first game, it was sort of like a out of time situation, but it's now it really paid off to just wait a little bit longer and have it on the sequel and how that all unfold. And how Shigeru Miyamoto, due to the success of Mario Galaxy 1, really wanted to get his hands a little bit more involved and polish all the gameplay concepts for Mario Galaxy 2, which, mind you, of course, the development time was probably, I think they were developing both at the same time at some point. So it's safe to say maybe within like 3 to 4 years, the development of Mario Galaxy 2 started. And, you know, mind you, they use almost every asset and including a couple more on the sequel, which really speed up the development time. However, all those ideas that just were out of Mario Galaxy 1 and how they implemented it in the sequel is just unbelievable. And you know, like I said before, Shigeru Miyamoto, all the influence that the game had, and he had to get his hands involved on polishing the mechanics and how to implement Yoshi, it was really great. Mind you, Of course, there are things that could have been like improved upon better. Let's just say is that the motion mechanics have not aged very well, at least from a recent gameplay while doing my research for this. Wow, I even think about it. It's like, how they used to play this game so smoothly before. But any game, times evolve, technology and us, we evolve and grow, and those things happen. So it's just even so rare because, like I said before, this is being a sequel without exactly being a sequel, but at the end of the day, it's a sequel. And you don't get that in Mario games. Each Mario game is kind of like its own universe, its own like pocket world. So the fact that we're getting that a direct sequel or like reference to the first Mario Galaxy, and having this with Mario Galaxy 2, it was very rare, and you can only tell the success of that. I mean, we've seen it today. If something is successful, if it's broken, don't fix it. Just make it better, improve upon it. I mean, it's happening right now with the Switch and now the Switch 2. And this happened with Mario Galaxy, now Mario Galaxy 2. And it really paid off. Like, we come from these amazing games, like highly praised for its revolutionary mechanics and how they really implemented it. Which, again, mind you, there were other games and other franchises that they were like implementing the like gravity mechanics that Mario Galaxy has, but I feel like none of them weren't as good and as responsive and as creatively better used that the Galaxy franchise did. So we need to give kudos to that because it was just unbelievable. And it's just, when you think about it, yes, they reuse a lot of assets, but almost 80 to 90% of the entire game is just brand new content. We got brand new galaxies with brand new ways to get our power stars. The boss fights are very memorable, and just the whole like linearity, but in a good way. Because yes, another thing that could draw back people from Mario Galaxy 2 is the fact that we had the cool hub spot, I would say, on Mario Galaxy 1 with Rosalina's airship, and how you can just like traverse around like level by level. And this one has more of a linear sort of like 2D Mario-ish, like level by level design. But at the end of the day, the galaxies are the ones that are the stars of the show, and we want to be able to access gameplay quickly. So I feel like it was a good approach for the sequel, because I feel like we get that full-blown introduction with the first game, and now this one we want to focus more on like the gameplay and like how we can make it more exciting, more challenging, and more rewarding, also with the fact that we have almost double the collectibles, and just everything came together so beautifully. And this game in particular, I just go back and forward, and I mentioned this before also, it's something that really is special, and it really reshaped like not only Nintendo games and gaming like they usually do for every generation. I think Mario Galaxy 2 really stands out because even up until this day, there's still a debate of which 3D Mario game is best. A lot of people keep coming back to how Mario Galaxy, the Galaxy franchise itself, really shake things up. We go back to Mario 64 because it's nostalgic and it's the first introduction to 3D. And don't get me wrong, I love and cherish my Super Mario 64. It's an amazing game, and I'm always going to have a soft spot for it. But I keep going back and forward with Odyssey and Galaxy 2. Maybe there's an Odyssey 2 in the future. This discussion will end, and if they can replicate that again, that would be amazing. It's only a matter of time when we get that reveal of what the new 3D Mario would look like. I just really hope that it gives me that sense of wow factor and mind-blowness that Galaxy and Galaxy 2 did in the first place. But now let's talk about what Mario Galaxy 2 itself brought to the table. We already came along how the Galaxy mechanics like really revolutionized the industry when Mario Galaxy 1 came out. And Mario Galaxy 2 just did it even better with the introduction, or I should say reintroduction, of our friendly and loyal companion Yoshi, and how it really took the gameplay to the next level. Not only you were able to ride it, as you know, as we already used to ride Yoshi since the Mario World days. However, how they really implemented his his tongue and his tongue mechanic as now being the reticle, and like how you could do like so many things, not only like chewing up enemies, chewing up bullet bills and shooting them back at them, and like breaking like stuff around, but also how they made the transversal even more fun with the Yoshi flowers that you will just like use your tongue to, so you can swing around. And all that, how it really came very handy, especially when you touch base on the very last level. We get there shortly. However, it really added fun to how the gameplay and how this game. I feel like what happens is like Mario Galaxy 2 felt a little bit more platformy than its predecessor. I feel like Mario Galaxy 1 was more of the transversal, it was more grandeur with that, whereas Mario Galaxy 2, it was more platforming and a little bit more precision. And you know, we got all these tools, like not only with Yoshi, but also all those new power-ups that we were introduced that really took the game to next level. And you know, the level design really stepped it up. And touching on the power-ups, I mean, of course, the first one that comes right into my mind, Cloud Mario, which up until this day is one of my favorite power-ups out there. And it's funny enough because the other day, me and my husband were playing, he was playing Astrobot, and I really was going for him. It's like, you know, this is very like what would Mario Galaxy 3 would feel like if that's the thing. And funny enough, Astrobot has a power-up, one of its little butts, on one of the levels, that he creates platforms with the leaves, with like a platform of leaves that he can do it up to 3 times, and that's straight up the cloud power up from Mario Galaxy 2. And I really like the fact that, like I said, this is one of my favorite power ups out there. I hope it will make some sort of a comeback. Basically what it does is like it will create like cloud platforms. You can create up to 3, but if you collect a power up while having the power up, I know it sounds redundant, that you can get up to 5 platform opportunities. Not only that, Mario becomes lighter, so your jumps or long jumps actually become a little bit more floaty, and it can help a lot with the platforming precision of things. But it is really fun, and their implementation, it was just great. And we have other powers like the Rock Mario, for example, that it would just like turn into a rock. And while you generally couldn't control the direction much because it was not just running around right away, it was really fun for those like specific levels that you needed a little bit more precision. I mean, one of those challenge levels that you just go to like sort of like obstacle course that is all being speed up by being Rock Mario. As up until this day, it gives me a headache of how many times I try, especially because some of these courses you actually have to control with motion. And yes, maybe back in the day was a little bit more fun than now, I will say that, but it was just really cool how the implementation of these powers came to be. And you know, we had the returning ones, like of course the Superstar, because you can't have a Mario game without a Superstar power up. Well, I guess you can more on the 3D side than the 2D. But we also have the Bee Mario. We got a kind of like a remix version of the Beehive Galaxy and Honeycomb Galaxy. I don't remember that name specifically, but you know, some people that might be its favorite. For me, it was just like, yeah, it's cool to have it back. But this really made the transversal of the game a little bit more platformy, and I'm bringing this back for what I said on the previous section, how the linearity of Galaxy 2 actually play on its favor. Like I said, if you're looking for sort of like a grand adventure and, you know, experience like the core of what Mario Galaxy means, play Mario Galaxy 1. If you're looking for something a little bit more like platformy and like, you know, get to test your 3D platforming, a little bit more challenging, but even more fun, the Mario Galaxy 2, it's the perfect game because the galaxies also aren't that big, and there's not many stars as the previous game had. However, it is the perfect combination and the perfect length of platforming brilliantness. You know, from the first level that you just hop in and you get reintroduced to Yoshi right away, and how he's being implemented, it's just unbelievable. And you can really tell that whereas they still reuse the assets and the game almost pretty much the same, I feel like the level design is much better on Galaxy 2 because of the fact that you feel a little bit more in control of your movement and where you're gonna land. Whereas in Galaxy 1, sometimes you might feel like a little lost while running around on the planets. Here, the pathway is a little bit clearer than its predecessor. And you know, like after enjoying Galaxy 1 and now jumping into Galaxy 2, we can be a little bit challenging sometimes. But it also increased the replayability of things because now, for example, how you were able to play the levels in Galaxy 1 and then up to a certain point the comments will start to show up where we show the remix versions of the games. Here you get introduced to another collectible, which is the comet coins, and the more comet coins you collect, the likelihood of a comet showing in that galaxy specifically will increase, and to the point that you're still collecting all of those. So it's not like it will just like pop in out of nowhere. You have to backtrack. You can actually just collect the comet coins and you will just have them right away, and you can be done with that world in one sitting. So that's it's in a very positive way. It's really, really good. And then once you finish the game, we'll get an extra level of well, not difficulty per se. I would say like more like extra ways to try to cram a little bit more stars here and there, because now when we clear the game, then we'll get introduced to the green comet, which will add the green stars to each single level, and these green stars will be scattered around at any point in the level. Like it's not gonna be like towards the end like normally all the stars are. So, you know, you can be like in the middle of something and then you see the green star, and that's how you get it. So yeah, it makes the levels a little bit shorter, but it actually makes you think like, oh, I actually didn't know I could go that direction and that the green star can be there. There's actually one green star that you grab that you need to let yourself shoot by a bubble cannon, and if you don't do that and you just walk by, you won't be able to see the star. You actually have to do this on accident to realize what the star is. And you know, creating places like that, there's a green star that is on top of a bridge that you are supposed to knock down in order to move forward on the level, but you don't have to knock it down in order to get the star. You actually need the bridge up so you can wall jump on it and then grab it. So again, all these ideas that came to be, and they were able to implement into this game and add additional content. I mean, this game is replayable the heck out of it. And I remember, because it actually took me a while to beat it, the first run, because I didn't know where the green stars were. And you know, back in the day, you didn't have much access to like tutorials and all that. That is in my case. So it really, they give me time to enjoy and appreciate the game the way it is, because it was just awesome to go back and re-experience that in such a wonderful and creative way. I feel like out of all the Mario games out there, I mean, Odyssey, of course, being close second, if not first, Mario Galaxy 2 is one of the most replayable 3D Mario games ever made. Now then, of course, we cannot talk about this masterpiece without mentioning the masterpiece of soundtrack this game is. And this goes all the way back to Mario Galaxy 1. I mean, we got to introduce to live music orchestra for the first time in a Mario game. And, you know, all that came through Mario Galaxy 1 and now pushed over to Mario Galaxy 2, it was just amazing. I mean, up until this day, I listen to these soundtracks over and over and over again. Not only it is epic, it's also nostalgic, it's melancholic, and happy at the same time. I mean, we get two versions of Gusty Garden's Galaxy, which is my favorite track in, I would say, almost any Mario game out there, just because of how epic it is, especially when you're playing that final level, how it really feels personal, that this is it, this is the moment that you will graduate as the Grand Master of Galaxies, as the title suggests. But soundtrack and atmosphere, of course, this is the creme de la crop, what makes this game really special. And of course, legendary composer Koji Kondo, along with Mahito Yokoda and Ryo Nagamatsu, sorry if I butchered that, really brought this music concept to life. And then, of course, shout out to all the people who play the instruments in the background and did an amazing job to really give this great game. And you know, we're talking about a galaxy journey, and the music and the sense of wonder and adventure and the great scale of things, the music really stand up and live up to the occasion. It really defines the experience. You guys know me, a game can be a lot of good in terms of gameplay. If the music is not there, that game is not gonna interest me much. So the fact that they're actually bringing this like epic showcase of music and instrumentation, not only from the levels itself, but even in the world, in the hub world of Mario ship, how you have that serene but like happy play, just playing while you're just walking around exploring the ship. And then on the worlds, how you have this also serene, very calm music that you can just sit down and listen for hours and hours by itself without going to a level. I mean, this is one of the most like replayable soundtracks out there, and it really takes the music to another level. I feel up until this day is the best music in any Mario game. And as much as I love Odyssey and I love the musicality of Odyssey, I feel Galaxy still takes the cake, just because of it really measures up to the epicness of this adventure. And you know, it only makes me wishful for a Galaxy 3 and how that will evolve to today's standards. So here's for, if it's not Mario Odyssey 2, Mario Galaxy 3 will be the way to go. And you know, we always look back and forward on like how this game is so highly praised, as we mentioned several times already here, and it's still to this day one of the highest rated games in Metacritic. I believe it's sitting at 97, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna fact check that in a little bit. But how this game really did for the industry is just like, how do you make the perfect sequel? And I feel Mario Galaxy 2 is the perfect sequel, again without being a sequel per se, but it really truly is, of like how they handle it and how they just improve upon what already was considered a masterpiece. And it just makes me wonder, and will it be ever have a sequel and make this a trilogy in the future? Who knows? But it will be very interesting to see if that happens the case. In the meantime, all I can think about is, again, why the heck Nintendo wouldn't include this at all on the 3D All-Stars collection. And I do get a point. We did have Yoshi mechanic, while innovating, could be a little tricky to perform like on the Switch. However, we had the reticle and the Pro Controller, it worked just fine. I wouldn't see why not do the exact same thing for that. But if it were something that they were gonna leave for the Switch too, because of the mouse mechanics, and it would be like a selling feature, I completely understand. I just really hope that, yes, we are getting DK Bonanza as our 3D platformer. We're still waiting to see whether we're gonna get a 3D Mario or not this year, or at least announced. I don't think that's gonna be the case, to be completely honest, because we're already getting Donkey Kong, and that's quote-unquote Mario Odyssey 2, and because let's face it, it's the same team that is developing it. It reads very well on just the layout and like how the game UI looks like so far. But if we need to get something to hold us over until the next 3D Mario comes out, there's not a perfect candidate than Mario Galaxy 2. Not only do you get the mouse control implementation, we can really take the game to a next level. Make that HD jump, increase the resolution, increase the frame rate, add HDR to it if you want to be fancy about it. And this could really be the greatest game of all time if they really made a remaster on its own. And this wouldn't be a better candidate for a Mario remaster than Super Mario Galaxy 2. Heck, put the Mario Odyssey model there with the physics and tighten up those fixes even more, and this could be a home run, my friends. I'm telling you, I should be working for Nintendo and the marketing team. We're missing out on money, right? But anyway, I mean, when we reflect and like how it really wasn't the right fit to put it on the 3D All-Stars collection, the only reason I can think of is just this. And I really hope I'm right in the next 12 months and we are blessed to play this game on a much better console with much better performance, and definitely look forward to that. And if we don't get a remaster, eventually if we end up getting the Wii Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack and we're able to run the Wii games on the Switch, then that would be just enough to have a new audience re-experience this amazing work of art. And yeah, I'm just right there with you guys. We need that port. We need that port in some shape or way for people to really get and experience the legacy of creativity and boundary pushing design that Mario Galaxy 2 really brought to the table. And just the fact that this game also carried over in little pieces in other games that came after. I mean, we do have Galaxy style levels that came after in Super Mario 3D World, and even reflected also in Super Mario Maker, and even so on. Even Mario Odyssey, you can debate that some of the inspiration on some of the levels might have come, like the anti-gravity aspects of it. That would have been a thing in Mario Galaxy, and Galaxy 2 weren't there first to implement it. So it really shows like the impact that these games had in future games that came ahead, not only in the 3D aspect but also in the 2D aspect of things with the new Super Mario Bros. Series, and also with the recent entry Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Mario Maker. I mean, God forbid that we get a Mario Maker 3D, and if they somehow manage to crack the formula and doing like a Mario Galaxy Mario Maker theme, I mean, it looks a bit of a tall order, let's be honest, but one can only dream. So, you know, I'm just waiting for that guy in their basement to just put up the Mario Galaxy Maker, and that would be mind-blowing to see. But all we want now is to be able to re-experience the game on a much better way, and I really hope that Nintendo takes note and listen to what the fans are clamoring and really gives the game and the flowers it deserves. And to think about also that Mario Galaxy 2 was, if I recall correctly, the pioneer when it comes down to like that concept that now, ever since this game, almost every Mario game had right after, which is a final level which will test all your knowledge throughout the game, especially after playing it for so long, after collecting so many stars, so many comet coins. It all comes down to the final challenge. It's time for me to talk about my biggest achievement in gaming, my friends, and is clearing the Grandmaster Galaxy. So for those who haven't played the game, and for those who don't know, the Grandmaster Galaxy, it is the very final level of Mario Galaxy 2. You can only access to it when you collect both 120 stars as Mario, 121 stars as Mario, and then do it again as Luigi with the green stars. And getting all the comic coins is literally the final level that you unlocked in the game. And yes, you get to the level by clearing the game and then access to the special world. But to unlock the final challenge, you need to basically beat the entire game 100%. And not only do you get to one of the most creative, challenging, and so much rewarding platformers you will ever play in your life, but you have to do it again as perfect as possible. And by perfect, I mean without getting hit once. It is the clear of the perfect run, and how you need to traverse through all that level without getting hit at any time. And if you do, you will start all over, not checkpoints needed. And when I tell you that I spent all day trying to beat this, and when I beat it the first time I cried, it's because I totally did. This really took all I knew from the game and took it to the next level. And by the time I reached towards the end, only to find Rosalina, the entity, I don't know if you should call it like the goddess, whatever Rosalina might entail, that started this whole galaxy adventure since the very first game, is the one that closes the chapter of the Mario Galaxy series for now. It was just a full circle moment just to get that final star after all the effort and all the sweat and joy and tears that you put into this. And like I said before, this is one gaming memory that will never leave my head, and it would be great to do it all over again and experience that. As I mentioned before, I was very happy to find out that I still have my file from 2013, because I was a little late to this game when I played it the first time, and I was able to see that with my old me and everything, it really brings back to memories of how I worked my butt off to get there. And I will cherish and I will take care of that Wii U SD card for life, because I want to remain that to be a memory that I can pass on to my fellow gamers that will come after. And definitely I look forward, because not after that, then we got other challenges like that, like in the Champions Road on 3D World, and then the final level on the Dark Side of the Moon on Mario Odyssey, and then we got the final challenge with the Badge Marathon, which is in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. But for me, that one specifically is the best on the 2D aspect, the best final level in any 2D Mario game. It all started because of Mario Galaxy 2 and the great idea to put all that you learn up to the test with the great reward at the very end. And that reward might as well be just that last one star, yes, but it's the fact that this game comes into a full circle, a symbol of infinity, of never end, how really this game really entails. Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 are two games that you can just play back to back and over and over and over again. Somehow it feels like the first time you're playing them, because both of them are creative, both of them introduce to a brand new world of mechanics and possibilities that you couldn't experience before, and how gameplay and story, which mind you, the story is not very deep. We all know what happens. We all know what occurs. However, the gameplay, the music, and the atmospheres is literally the perfect recipe for an epic adventure. this is a feeling and a sensation that we don't get in a while once you play these games and experience them for the first time. And it will always remain as one of my cherished memories in gaming. And while Mario Odyssey brought those feelings back in a different way, and I still believe that for today's standards, Mario Odyssey is the better game, and it has a lot of special value to me. Mario Galaxy, and then specifically Mario Galaxy 2, deserves the love and deserves the praise that it has always gotten. This is something that cannot be forgotten, and it will be in our memories, and it will be a gameplay, music, and experience masterpiece to infinity and beyond. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached to the end of this galactic journey to Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2's history and memory. So thank you very much for joining me once again. I really appreciate all your support so far with season 2 of Game and Chat. It is going as good as it can get, and it's only gonna get better because of you keep listening and keep breaking those records. So we actually just broke 300 downloads. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for keep listening, even going back all the way to season 1 to listen to all those episodes and how you connect in this amazing gaming space that we share and love as fellow gamers. And for those both on the casual and the pro side, this is for welcoming everyone that just want to sit down and relax and chat about games. But a quick lightning round in terms of Galaxy stuff. Favorite power-up, I would say the Cloud power-up, which we already mentioned. Favorite levels, the Grandmaster Galaxy. I feel like that's the level I really marked. But if I were to pick up a couple more, I do like the Boulder Bowl Galaxy. I like also the final battle with Bowser with that epic soundtrack that I had it on my playlist after I played it for the first time, and it really marked how final boss soundtrack should really sound. I like, of course, the Throwback Galaxy, which it was a very nice callback to Super Mario 64 to bring back Worm's Fortress in our first quote-unquote remaster level of Mario 64. And it was very nice to get a little bit of a memory of like where this game came from. And you know, before Mario Odyssey came to be, this was the game that would look back into all previous games. I'll bring a little bit to it. We actually got I don't remember the name right now, but we had this like kind of like beach-based level, which it's a paid homage to Mario Sunshine and how the Piantax actually made a comeback to this game, which is very nice to see. And of course, the other ones that come to mind, of course, we got our Giant World Galaxy. I believe it's called Supermassive Galaxy. And, you know, we always love those kind of concepts like giant levels and giant, like, monsters. And, of course, it brings me back to my 2D baby game, Super Mario Bros. 3. One of my favorites 2D Mario games out there. So again, a whole celebration of the Mario franchise up until this day, and all what inspired of all the games that came after. And we really own it to the Galaxy series, and how Galaxy 2 just made it even better. But anyway, people, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate every single one of you. We are getting closer to the midway of the season, so thank you so much for those who have listened to so far. We have a lot of episodes planning now, other guests coming in. Sounds by Sebas will make a return, so stay tuned for that one. Of course, shout out for the amazing soundtrack that you hear in the background. Of course, all music and musicality provided by Sounds by Sebas. Be sure to check him out on its website, also available. And of course, please stay tuned for upcoming episodes and upcoming gameplay stories out there. Today, about how am I playing right now? Well, I'm torn because I'm playing The Last of Us, and then we heard about this little game called Claroscure Expedition 33, and I guess we're gonna have an episode about Claroscure Expedition 33 at some point, because that game, oh my god. I'm gonna leave it out there. I'm gonna leave you guys to it, and I hope you guys join me for that one, because that game is just something that I wasn't expecting, and it really is shaping up to be the contender for Game of the Year. At least for now. We'll see how the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World turn out to be, and Metroid, and all the Nintendo surprises that we haven't known yet. So it's too early to say, but so far Expedition 33 is taking the cake, along with Split Fiction, that is. But anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope to see you on the next episode. Stay tuned, stay safe, stay gaming. This is Daniel, aka One to Switcheroo, signing off. Game on.